Are we live?
Yes, Mike.
Okay, perfect. A very good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants who've joined us for this webinar today. Um, as some of you are still joining in, we'll maybe wait for a minute or two and then we'll kick it off. So, yeah, in the meantime, just stay put and we'll start in a minute. Okay, kick off now. And of course, I think some of you are still joining in, so you can catch up as we go along. We're already past our stipulated time. So without further ado, we'll get started. First of all, a very, very warm welcome and good evening to all the attendees who've joined us today for this webinar. And of course, we're sure that you know the theme for the for today's webinar is talking and understanding more about e-Postgraduate Diploma in Computer Science and Engineering from IIT Bombay. And I'm sure like most of you and or all of you are aware that when it comes to computer science, IIT Bombay is probably the best institute to learn it from, and of course hosts some of the best students and the faculty when it comes to this domain. So an e-Postgraduate Diploma from IIT Bombay, especially in computer science, is something which I'm sure many of you, are probably looking forward to, or at least want to understand how this can be helpful to your career. And we hope that this webinar is helpful in understanding that. And of course, if it makes sense, then maybe you'll probably apply for the same, and we will see you soon. But the idea for today is to explain some of the details behind the program, how it's operating, what are the courses, what's the application criteria, and so on, so that one, you can understand in detail what this e-postgraduate diploma has to offer, and second, make an informed choice if this is something that interests you, and if this is something that can help you in your journey ahead. So with that context, we will kick it off. I would first like to introduce our speaker today, Professor Vinay Ribeiro. Professor Vinay is a professor with the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, and is also the coordinator for this e-Postgraduate Diploma, and will be taking us through the details, various details of the program. So, and of course, you'll also get an opportunity to ask questions and queries from the faculty, and we'll be happy to answer them towards the end of the session. So, welcome, Professor Vinay, to the session, and look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, thanks, Mohit. Can I know how many participants are there in the meeting, roughly?
We have around 35 so
Okay,
far.
so that's a good number.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone for joining at this late hour in the evening. I'm Vinay Ribeiro. I've been here at IIT Bombay for about 7 years now. And before that, I was at IIT Delhi for many years, for 12 years in the Department of Computer Science. And I earlier did my BTech in IIT Madras and my Masters and PhD in Houston at Rice University. So I've been associated with 3 different IITs. Yes, so I know a lot about the IIT system, right? So I'll walk you through some of the highlights of the program, tell you a little bit about the department, a little bit how the courses are structured, which courses are going to be offered, and so on. So we can move to the next slide.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Professor Vinay. I'll also just, maybe take 30 minutes to introduce myself. So my name is
Right.
Mohit. I'm a part of the Great Learning team, and Great Learning is the official edtech partner for this ePGD. And you'll of course be interacting with Great Learning different parts of the program. So one of them is part and all the related points of the program. Uh, Great Learning is responsible for student onboarding and sharing the details with you, kind of helping you make the decision, and then eventually with all the non-academic aspects of the program. And we'll also, of course, talk about that towards the end. So without further ado, we will move on to the next part. And Professor Vinay, over to you for this
So
next part of the
Mohit, just a short while back, there was a little bit of a glitch. I was not able to hear you, but I'm not sure if that was only at my end or can anybody else from Great Learning who was participating just comment? Were there a few seconds where?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, Professor. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's.
Okay, maybe that was a network issue. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'll continue. So I'll briefly tell you a little bit about the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at IIT Bombay. And as you know, this is one of the top departments in any of the ranking systems, for computer science in India, probably among the top 3 in any ranking. And definitely the highest in JE, right? So out of the top 50 students in India, about 47 or something like that come to our department, right, in JE. And many of the toppers in GATE also join at the master's level. And of course, it's one of the most sought after places for PhD, right? And the faculty members are highly accomplished. Most of us have PhDs from top universities in the world, many from USA, few from Europe. Some professors have PhDs from IISc or IITs, right? And uh, of course, the research program is quite strong. We have at least 100 different research publications in the top tier journals. So it's journals or even conferences. So as you know, in computer science, conferences are really sort of very sought after, and the selection criteria is very tough, right? So some conferences only 15% of papers submitted get accepted, right? So at that level, we have at least over 100, more than 100 publications every year, and of course, professors attract a lot of research funding to the department, and it goes into several crores of funding every year, right? In various different subjects. One of them is artificial intelligence. Recently, there was a huge grant, something like 900 crores or so. The government announced would come to IIT Bombay just for certain artificial intelligence projects, right? And the professors are very accomplished. Many of them have won awards. Some professors have won Infosys Prize, which is a very, very prestigious award given to select group of professors every year. Several are fellows of the ACM and IEEE. So these are the top, you can say, professional bodies of computer science and electrical engineering, respectively. Few of our colleagues have won Bhatnagar Award. That is the top award given to scientists and engineers under the age of 45. Some have won Padma Shri and so on, right? And of course, our alumni are very well known. Some of the names you would have heard, like Nandan Nilekani, but most of the President of India Gold Medal awards, I would say historically, that's for the highest CGPA at IIT, have come from the computer science department. And many of our students, after they leave, have won distinguished alumni awards. Of course, Nandan Nilekani is one of them, but several others too. And they have become leading researchers at various universities. Some of the very famous entrepreneurs in the world, engineers and policymakers, and so on, right? So many of them have stayed in computer science. Some have gone to even areas like finance. A few years back, there was a deputy director of the Reserve Bank of India who was from our department, right? So I think with that we can move on to the next slide. So this is a new program which we are offering. Of course, computer science we just started in September, and few other departments and centers have started maybe a year back, right? So it's a new program from IIT. But what IIT felt is, if we can go back here, what we felt is that IIT needs to reach out to much wider audience than just the few students who get selected here, right? Of course, we are taking more students in our regular programs like BTech and MTech and so on, but for a nation as large as India, where there are so many people, so many talented people, we realize that for the fast to have more impact and to increase the progress of the nation and impact it more, we need to reach out to beyond the students who are here on campus. And this is one of the reasons we have started this e-Postgraduate Diploma. And there may be other e-programs offered later on too. As the deans and the director decide on it, we will be publicizing them. So what is this ePGD program? Well, it's a postgraduate diploma. It's not like a full master's program, but it's a diploma at you can say the postgraduate level. So we will talk about the fine details of the program in the subsequent slides. But first, let me talk about who is it meant for. So it's meant for people who essentially already have, let's say, a degree in computer science, a bachelor's degree, but they want to have a postgraduate, uh, at least exposure to a top tier postgraduate program for different reasons. So for example, somebody might be a software developer or an engineer who's working in the industry, and maybe he's doing pretty well in his job and so on, and he doesn't want to leave the job and quit and sort of do a master's somewhere, right? So while doing the job, he wants to enhance his skills, get to know what is the latest happening in various fields, and still boost his CV, to make his job profile more attractive. So for such a person, this ePGD program would be ideal, you know. So you can do this program while working if you want, right? And you would have to, of course, manage your time well and decide which courses to take and so on, right? So besides software developers, also data scientists and machine learning practitioners. So several of our courses are related to data science and machine learning. In fact, at IIT Bombay, if you look at all the professors working in data science and machine learning, I would say most of them are from our department. As many as 14 professors in computer science work in this area. And we are offering several of these artificial intelligence or data science, machine learning type courses as part of our ePGD program. Right? So they too can strengthen their theoretical foundations and improve their practical skills in data science and machine learning. Right? So IT professionals who want to keep abreast to the latest going on in various fields of computer science, systems, AI, programming, and so on. Other professionals, who want to just advance their careers, maybe by boosting their CVs with a prestigious diploma from a top university, right? And besides working individuals, also fresh graduates can take this ePGD diploma. It's not a requirement that you have to be working. And in fact, if you are not working, you could do more courses than a working professional, and maybe you could finish the diploma earlier, right, rather than late. So next slide. So a little bit about the highlights of this program. So we have been very careful to ensure that all the courses are essentially designed and delivered by professors from the Department of Computer Science, right? So it's not that we are outsourcing the work and just putting a rubber stamp of IIT Bombay. So we are doing, it's essentially almost like the same courses that we teach at IIT Bombay. We are going to be teaching through the ePGD program also. So the courses will be mainly taught by IIT Bombay professors and also designed by IIT Bombay professors, right? And the mode of instruction will be, for the most part, online, since the learners will be from different parts of the country. There will be live sessions, and we would encourage all the learners to attend the live sessions. So they will be scheduled in the evening. We will, at least on weekdays, they will be scheduled in the evening, and the plan is that we will use the weekend also for some sessions, mainly on Saturdays. That's the plan, and of course, we could adjust it a little bit here and there to based on requests if they come from the candidates, right? But the live sessions, some of the sessions may be recorded. Maybe they would be more well recorded, and and they could be asynchronously attended. But at least one live session would be there in every course every week, right? So that there would be personal interaction between the professor and the students. And also there would be some interaction between the students, that we have the benefits of a live session, right? So in a live session, because there is a lot of discussion, typically the learning is more than in just an impersonal interaction through recorded lectures, right? So there will be query resolution. Some of the questions can be asked in the live lectures, but there is also a forum on the Great Learning platform, which I think Mohit will later talk about, where the questions can be asked by the students, and the teaching assistants and the professors can respond to it, right, in a time bound manner, right? So this program has several courses, but in order to get the diploma, you will have to take at least 6 courses. And so we'll talk about the credit system a little bit later on, but 6 courses will translate to 36 credits. And there is some restrictions about which courses to take. We'll talk about that in a subsequent slide, right? But effectively, you have to do 6 courses. If you're a working professional, we would recommend that you do at most 2 courses per session, because quite a number of hours will have to be dedicated by you for each course, right? And if you're doing a full-time job, probably 2 courses would be a heavy load, even though we offer typically more than 2 courses every session, right? And yes, so there will be a peer-to-peer learning too during the classes, which would be good. You will be able to maybe meet some other students too through your class, to the online classes, and build your professional network too through the coursework, right? So there will be a opportunity to visit IIT Bombay campus. The end semester or the final exams will be held on campus, and you would be expected to come to the campus towards the end of the session. The date will be announced well in advance. So you can come here, experience what IIT is like, and you would be able to take the exams also, right? So during the session, like the mid-semester exam, typically it would be conducted online, and of course, it depends on what we do exactly in a particular session, but the plan is that you would be required to come at the end of the semester for the final exam, and midterm exams are most likely going to be online. Okay? So the credits that you earn at IIT, so for every course you do, you will earn 6 credits that will go into something called the Academic Bank of Credits. So this is from the Ministry of Education, from the Government of India. So you can bank these credits, and for example, you have these 36 credits. Suppose you want to complete a degree, it could be at IIT Bombay or maybe at any other IIT, let's say, and suppose that degree requirement has 72 credits, right? So instead of doing 72 full credits at that other IIT or institution, it's possible to reuse these credits, these 36 credits over there. So that's the advantage of the Academic Bank of Credits. It's a little bit based on some of the foreign countries, what they do there. So you could use these credits somewhere else to get a degree elsewhere, right? But it depends on the agreements between the various institutions and universities and so on. Okay? So there will be an in-person graduation ceremony at IIT Bombay campus. So you can come here and you will get a degree over here. You will have the IIT Bombay alumni status, and there will also be a personalized assistance over here, right? So it's not that it's an impersonal sort of just through the computer interaction sort of impersonal. There would be a personal touch to it too. So in fact, at various levels, there will be somebody whom you can contact, right? So in our department, we will soon be hiring somebody to be a program manager for this program specifically. But also at the institute level at IIT, we have a program manager for the overall ePGD program covering various departments. And within Great Learning also, you will have specific people you can contact who, will assist you with various issues. If you have any problem with the Great Learning platform or anything else, right? We will also for every course have teaching assistants in addition to the professors, right? So the professors, at least in computer science, are fairly tech savvy, and they prefer to respond directly to the students, for their if they have any doubts and so on. So professors, TAs, and various program managers will be willing to assist you. Right? We can move on. Next slide. So what this ePGD program is not, so we need to be clear about that. So first of all, this is not a superficial skilling program. So it's not something where you just spend a little bit of time, get something for your CV and move on. This is like a regular course at IIT Bombay. So essentially the same material. Of course, since it's delivered online, we'll have to maybe modify things a little bit, but essentially it's the same content, right? And we would expect the students to do the assignments. Some professors may give short, small assignments every week. Some may give maybe once every 2 weeks and so on. But it would require a fair amount of time to be dedicated from your part, right? So it's almost like doing a MTech or a master's program here, uh, and the courses would be fairly heavy duty, right? So we expect, or we would recommend not more than 2 courses if you already have a job, if you're currently doing a job. But of course, if you're completely free, you might want to do more than 2 courses, right? So this is not an undergraduate level program or a gate preparation course. This is pretty much like an MTech or MS level course. So the postgraduate level topics will be covered, right? And you would be expected for many courses to have done the foundational courses at the undergraduate level, right? If you're doing, for example, databases in the ePGD program, you would be expected to have passed databases courses in your undergraduate program, right? And similarly, algorithms and so on, right? You're expected to already know something about algorithms and complexity, right? So for every course, of course, we will specify what you're expected to know, so that you're not caught by surprise, when you start taking the course. Right? So this is not a program just for CXO level executive, So at that level, they are mainly interested in strategic decision making. They are not They don't deal with the nitty-gritty of systems building or programming and so on. So they just want a high-level picture. And sometimes IITs offer that sort of course also. But this is not like that. You would be expected to do fairly rigorous assignments, and the material also would be fairly rigorous, right? And there would be a lot of hands-on learning. So it's not just theoretical and you write the exam at the end. Even for theory-based courses, you would be expected to do assignments throughout the semester. Right? So this is not a short-term boot camp. For every course would be covered over a period of 3 to 4 months, and you would be expected to dedicate some time every week for each course. Right? And like I've already mentioned, you would have to put in a significant individual study, as is done in any course at the postgraduate level at IIT. Can move on. So now to get into the nitty-gritty of how the courses are structured. So currently the offering is as follows. We have 9 courses lined up in the first year. And as time goes on, we may add to these courses, right? So currently, of course, the professors have committed to teaching these courses which have been shown over here. So each of these courses actually has 6 credits associated with it. So if you do 6 courses, you would get 36 credits, right? And that would be the minimum required to get a postgraduate diploma. But we have divided the 9 courses into 3 buckets. The first bucket is theory and practice of advanced programming. And the 3 courses in this bucket are the Programmer Developer's Toolbox, Algorithms and Complexity, and Web and Software Security. Right? We'll go into the details of these courses in subsequent slides. The second basket is computing system, right? So the first basket is somewhat more theoretically oriented, theory and programming, you can say. The second basket is more systems oriented. So the first course is cryptography and network security, right? Second course is database and big data system internals. And the third course is introduction to blockchains, right? And the third basket is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So these are related to data science. And the 3 courses are foundational mathematics for data science, natural language processing and generative AI. And the third course is foundations of computer vision. Right? So in order to get an ePGD diploma, you are expected to do at least 1 course in each of these baskets. Right? And so that would mean 3 courses. Of course, if you do 1 in each, you would get 3 courses. And the remaining courses you can do from any of the baskets. It's up to you. Right? So the reason why we require 1 course from each basket is to ensure that you have a breadth of learning. Right? So it's not that you're totally focused only on 1 or 2 baskets. You have some exposure to theory, some to systems, and of course to artificial intelligence, which is a very hot topic, right? But you could choose to specialize in a particular domain if you so choose, right? If you want to, for example, specialize in computer systems, you could do all 3 courses listed here in the computer systems basket. And you could do 1 course in, let's say, the theory and practice of programming, and let's say 2 courses in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Right? So that would give you a basket of a total number of 6 courses. Right? Of course, if you want to do more than 6, I think it is totally allowed, right, for the learning purposes. But to get the diploma, you would have to do at least 6 courses and pass the courses and get 36 credits. Right? So we can move on to the next slide. So here is the academic delivery timeline. I think there's a typo. The third term is 2026, right? But I think it's shown as 2025, term 3, right? If I'm correct, Mohit, my
Yes,
hearing is
that's
okay.
correct.
That's
That's
a
correct.
typo.
My bad. Yes, that's
So
correct.
some of you who are planning to join in the next session, your first term would be January to April 2026. And the tentative course offering is web and software security. That would be from the first basket, introduction to blockchains from the systems basket, and natural language processing and generative AI from the AI basket. The second term would commence in May and go on till August 2026. The program developers toolbox from the first basket, cryptography and network security from the second basket, foundations of computer vision from the third basket, right? So every session we plan to offer at least one course from each of the baskets, right? And the third term would be from August to December next year. And the topics, the courses covered would be algorithms and complexity, databases and big data system internals, and foundational mathematics for data sciences, right? So this is the tentative plan. And of course, you would have to plan based on, what your interests are and so on about as to which courses to take, right? It depends on your interests, but you have to remember that to get the diploma, you have to do at least one course from each of the three baskets, right? Okay. So, yes. So just maybe a little bit about this. So if you just go back maybe a second. Yeah. So the course will begin, for example, the term one, the plan is that we would begin possibly in the second or third week of January. The exact schedule is not yet finalized, but that's the tentative schedule. And the final exam will be sometime in April, right? And there will be something like 12 weeks of lectures, and we will have a couple of weeks for exams, the midterm exam and final exam and so on, with some time also for preparation for the exams, as is typically done in universities, right? And every course will have live lectures, like I said, but every week. And typically they will be in the evenings on weekdays, and could be on a Saturday on the weekend, right? Yes, okay, right. So this is the tentative schedule, and of course, some students may not be able to attend all the live lectures. But the lectures will be recorded for your benefit. You can always look at it later on. But there is a great benefit to attend the live lectures, so that you can ask questions right away and get them cleared, right? And there will be that experience, the learning experience of being in a live peer-to-peer class with your peers asking questions and so on. We can move on. So a little bit about the syllabus of each of the courses. So the first we will talk about the first bucket, which is on theory and practice of advanced programming. The first course is the Programmer Developers Toolbox. So this will cover many of the standard software tools which would be used in the industry, or any useful for any large software development project. So things like Unix operating systems, C++ programming environment, various Python tools, and libraries like NumPy and SciPy, web programming with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and so on, right? And a little bit of elements of AI programming also, right? So the professors will give you course projects, and that's very typical of IIT courses, and in fact, at the top universities around the world. So to sort of balance what you learn in class, you would be given projects which use what you have learned in class, right? So that you actually get that experience of implementing things and get the hands-on experience, right? So that you can expect in this course. The second course is algorithms and complexity. You would be expected to have done or brushed up on your algorithms and complexity you would have done in your bachelor's program. But here you would go deeper into various algorithms, possibly study newer algorithms which may not have been covered in your UG program. And you would be expected to understand the why, so why would you want to use an algorithm to solve certain problems? I mean, which type of algorithm would you want to use if you want to solve a particular problem? There usually would be some sort of a trade-off. It's not so straightforward. And you need to understand the nuts and bolts to be able to make a decision about which algorithm to use, right? So the professor would look at it from that angle to give you a deeper understanding. And in addition, you would be expected to prove certain things. Once I heard a story about this Professor Rudin, who was a very famous mathematician. If you've taken a maths course on real analysis, his textbook by Walter Rudin is sort of the standard textbook internationally. And one of my professors, when I was studying in the US, was his student in Wisconsin, and he was a student then, and he met Professor Rudin, and he said something like, can I use a certain theorem? And the student had not understood the proof. So the professor said, Rudin said, never use a theorem unless you can prove it, right? And of course, that sounded very harsh, because as practitioners, we tend to sort of just use something as a black box. But the point is that really, if you want to know what is the best thing to use, you need to understand how it actually works, and how, in this particular case, you need to understand how things are proved. What is the complexity, for example, of a particular algorithm? Right? So a third course is web and software security. So this is a fairly hot topic. The web is used for everything under the sun, right? And if at all there are vulnerabilities in the web, either on the client side in the client side application or on the server side, that would be a big problem, right? All so many of our government websites, I mean, essentially a lot of the services offered by the government, universities, and so on, everything, even this course is going to be offered on the web. So security is extremely important. Excuse me. So this course will cover vulnerabilities on the client side, but also on the server side. It will look at things like the OWASP, which is an organization which sort of lists the top vulnerabilities in this particular uh, topic, right? So you'll study about the various attacks which are conducted, uh, what what should be done to be secure against these attacks, and Professor Kameshwari is one of the professors who typically teaches this course. Okay? So we can move on to the next slide. The second basket is computing systems. One of the courses is cryptography and network security. So the web security course is mainly going to look at the application level, right? The web applications, what are the vulnerabilities you have over there? But what about below the application level? If you've taken a course on networks, you know that there are so many different protocol layers. Each protocol solves different problems in the communication, but they all interact with each other, So a problem in one of them could bring down the whole system, right? So this course is going to look at the various layers, typically beneath the application layer, the transport layer, the MAC layer, the physical layer, the routing layer, and so on. Across the protocol stack, you will look at what are the various issues, various types of attacks, some of the more traditional ones, but also some of the more modern ones, right? And the tools which are used, things like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and so on, which help protect the network systems of various companies. This is particularly relevant for those who want to go into the cybersecurity arena. Nowadays every company has to have several people dedicated just to security, right? And every one of those experts would have to know things covered by this course. The second course is databases and big data systems internals. So now, of course, everything is moving to big data, right? There's a huge amount of data for many different applications. So how do you deal with so much of data? How do you process it quickly? What algorithms to use? What database technologies to use to do things like query processing very quickly, right? So all of this happens in the back end, right? It's not maybe visible to the user, but all of that has to happen very quickly in the back end. So this course will cover the latest in technologies on database systems and big data systems in terms. Right? So the third course is Introduction to Blockchains. And as you know, blockchains is very much in the news for good and bad reasons, right? So this is actually my area of research. And so things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, which are very much in the news, right? And the, right now, at least, there's a bull run in the crypto world, right? The prices are shooting up. But anyways, but how does it all work, right? And it wasn't there even 15 years back, or I shouldn't say 15 years back, maybe 20 years back, there was no blockchain. But by the end of the 2000s, Bitcoin was invented, and then of course many others like Ethereum, Solana, and all have been invented. So how do they really work? So there's a networking component, there's a consensus protocol, there are applications which run on blockchains. So this course will cover the basics of all of those, right? So you would you should expect to understand how Bitcoin works, Ethereum works, and so on. You would be able to write smart contracts for Ethereum by the end of the course. You would be able to understand some of the security issues related to Bitcoin, and most importantly, you would be able to separate the hype from the really important things about blockchain, right? And there is a lot of hype in blockchains, but there's also a lot of actual practical uses of blockchains. Okay, so let's move on to the third basket. So the third basket is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And I don't need to say that this is one of the hottest topics currently in the whole field of computer science. So one of the topics will look at mathematics of data science. So first of all, we need basic mathematic tools, things like linear algebra, statistics, multivariate calculus, and so on. These are the tools which are used widely in artificial intelligence, in different artificial intelligence systems. So by taking this course, you will have a very strong understanding about the mathematics of how AI systems are built, and how the various things are optimized, for example, in neural networks and so on. Right. So the professor will give you uses of these mathematical tools in things like face recognition, right? Generating realistic images and so on, because the professor has expertise mainly in computing vision, right? So you not only will you learn the theoretical aspect, the mathematics, but you will also get some hands-on experience with the practical applications of these mathematical tools, right? The second course is natural language processing and generative AI. And this is something we all have started using every day, right? Things like GPT or Gemini in Google and so on. We are all sort of got used to it in a very short period of time. But how do they work? I mean, they use things like large language models. And so this course will cover the deep down technology which is used by various things like GPT and Gemini, right? So you would you should expect to understand things like feed forward neural networks, convolutional neural networks, and so on, right? LSTM networks and so on, right? The various things listed over here in this slide, right? And since this is a very hot topic, right? I mean, everybody wants to use GPT, but you might have to sort of tune things or even build your own large language model depending on what your role is in in various companies and so on. Okay. So the third course in this basket is Foundations of Computer Vision. Uh, so this will look at this is also an aspect of AI. Suppose you have videos which have been collected, how do you analyze them automatically? You might want to for example, there was a security incident in the US with this Charlie Kirk, for example, right? Recently, and there are so many videos, hundreds of videos collected, right? And manually looking at all of them is going to be difficult. But suppose you have a good AI tool which is going to look at all the videos and maybe pick out suppose a potential, suspicious character in the way hundreds of videos, right? How to do that, right? So you need to have tools for it, right? And things like classification, segmentation, things like motion analysis, various things, various of ideas in computer vision would be required, right? And of course, besides security too, there may be other reasons that you want to use computer vision, to solve various problems. We want to automate a lot of activities, and we can't have humans analyzing it. So we want to build AI tools which are as good as humans or even better in analyzing videos and images, right? And so this is what this course is going to cover. Okay? So we can move on. So I think, Mohit, you were planning to discuss from this slide
Yes,
onwards.
yes. So thank you so
So
much.
over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Vinay, for providing a fantastic overview of various highlights, what the program is, what it is not, and the different courses. Uh, Quickly, I think before I get into tools, there were a couple of questions, and I'll probably get those out of the way. So there's a question around whether some of the especially in the course around foundational maths for data science, is this basic or not? I think definitely this is not a basic course because it's an IIT Bombay course. What do we mean by foundations is that we'll focus on the mathematical aspects which are relevant for data science specifically. So that's what is meant by foundational maths for data science. It's in no way a basic course, it's a postgraduate level course and is very much similar in terms of complexity as a course offered to for an on-campus postgraduate program at IIT Bombay. So while the name says foundation, it's definitely not basic. Um, and as Professor Vinay mentioned, not just NLP and GenAI, I think all the courses offer a mix of theory plus hands-on learning. Of course, it might differ from course to course. Some of the courses might have specific projects, some of them could have group projects, some might have assignments, etc. So the format of the hands-on learning part might change, but almost all the courses will have the relevant theoretical foundations along with the hands-on learning component so that you get a comprehensive understanding of all the areas. So that's the broad idea about most of the courses that we discussed. Now coming back to languages and tools, we understand that of course in addition to understanding the theoretical aspects of the of these various areas, it is equally important for learners to be aware of some of the most important languages and tools that are being used. So which means that as part of these courses, you'll get exposed to concepts like from Python, JavaScript, CSS, C++, NumPy, SciPy, Django, OWASP, ZapTool, SQL, and a host of other things that are mentioned here. And of course, as more courses may get introduced in future, this list might increase. That said, I think there's one thing that I want to highlight, which is something that we've heard over and over from the faculty, is that languages and tools, while yes, they are a mode to achieving something, the focus will always be on setting the right foundations, which means the all the courses will be concept first, and then of course the implementation might change. Some faculty might prefer to use some other tool or some of these tools, but the idea is to help you build a solid understanding of the concepts so that tomorrow, if even if the tools change, if you have an understanding of the concept, you should be able to apply that. And that goes back to what Professor Vinay was mentioning some time back, right? That only apply the theorem if you can prove it. So the applications might change, the tools might change, but if you know the concept underneath, you should be able to update yourself fairly quickly. And that's the whole uh, agenda and the motto behind each of these courses is to help you build a solid conceptual foundation so that you can apply it once you've completed the courses. Uh, with that, and of course, I think we've been hearing this for a while now. You'll also, of course, get the opportunity to learn from the IIT Bombay CSE faculty, and some of the faculty members who will be offering these courses are on the screen. So Professor Abhiram Ranade, who will be teaching a course on algorithms complexity, Professor Amitabh Sanyal, who will be teaching a course on program developer toolbox. Professor Sudarshan has his expertise on big data management and databases, so he'll be teaching that course. You heard from Professor Vinay. He has research interest in uh, blockchains and computer and network security. He'll be teaching that course. Professor Sharath will be the instructor for the course on foundational maths for data science and computer vision. And Professor Kameshwari will be teaching the courses on network security and computer security. So broadly, the idea is to expose you to some some of the brilliant faculty members from IIT Bombay who have expertise across various areas, and this group is a fairly diverse groups coming from different areas of expertise, covering different topics. The whole idea is to provide a diverse set of topics and courses to the students so that they can choose accordingly and kind of uh, chart their own way as they go into the program. This is not a postgraduate diploma with a fixed learning journey. You can select what courses you want to do, and of course there may be some prerequisites to do to those courses, and as long as you have crossed those prerequisites, you should be eligible to take some of these courses. So this kind of allows you to customize your learning journey and kind of pick what areas you want to specialize in as you move along, and which is why you see the faculty who comes from different backgrounds, different areas of expertise, offering a multitude of courses for the learners to choose from. uh, you will be awarded with an e-postgraduate diploma from IIT Bombay if you successfully complete all the requirements and choose to go with the e-postgraduate diploma. As we also discussed, you'll be earning credits as you complete each course. And typically, how the credit system works is these credits will keep getting accumulated in the academic bank of credits. And once you complete all the requirements, you can either choose to go ahead and take the e-postgraduate diploma from IIT Bombay, or you can choose to retain those credits in the academic bank of credits. And uh, when you are and if you choose to pursue higher education from any other institute, you can choose to use some of these credits to reduce the total requirement for the higher degree. That said, the applicability of the credits to a different institute and number of credits that are acceptable will depend on the rules and regulations of that particular institute, because every institute has different ways in which how they treat these credits. From an IIT Bombay point of view, uh, these credits will be mentioned on the respective course certificates that you earn, and they will be posted on the academic bank of credits to be used by other institutes as they deem fit and as per their own requirements and criteria. From an IIT Bombay point of view, uh, right now the candidates may not be able to use these credits for any other program, because this is the only online program that is being offered. However, there is uh, there are discussions of having an e-masters program in the future, where candidates from e-postgraduate diploma may be able to utilize these credits. So that path is still open, and because e-postgraduate diploma were introduced fairly recently, so uh, you know there are things in the pipeline, and we'll keep you all informed as and when those come around. Uh, but yeah, one clear thing is that candidates will not be able to use the credits from the online diplomas and e-masters for the on-campus program. So that cross utilization of credits is something which is not allowed right now. So with that, and I also wanted to speak a bit about Great Learning, which is the official EdTech partner for this e-postgraduate diploma in computer science and engineering. So at Great Learning, we've been offering online programs to candidates like you for over a decade now. And during that time, we've served more than 13 million learners across 170 countries. and have delivered close to 500 million learning hours through our programs on our platforms. We also have some of the best completion rates, and more than 90% of the learners who start a program with Great Learning end up completing the same, and that is made possible by the personalized support offered by the Great Learning program managers, and of course the academic teams working with them. The idea of having a dedicated program manager is to ensure that contact for the learners and are able to address all the queries that come from the learners. For the academic queries, the queries are routed to the faculty and the TAs and the program managers. All the non-academic queries are taken care of by the program manager itself. Beyond that, it is also the role of a program manager to help a learner figure out potential ways in which they can catch up if they're falling behind, to kind of send reminders and to help them keep on track. And that is something that is appreciated by a lot of our learners. In fact, we also have some of the highest learner ratings, which is 4.8 out of 5. We partner with some of the world's leading universities to bring a multitude of programs to you all, and some of the universities that we work with are Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins, MIT, of course, IIT Bombay, Northwestern School of Professional Studies, the University of Texas at Austin, Duke Fuqua School of Business, Deakin, University of Arizona, and Great Lakes. And of course, we are very, very excited to be partnering with IIT Bombay to offer the e-Postgraduate Diploma. And yeah, we look forward to having some of you on board if as you go through the next steps. Quickly talking about the eligibility criteria, as most of you have been asking about this. So the eligibility criteria for e-Postgraduate Diploma in Computer Science and Engineering, there are 2 or 3 types, and you might fall in either of these categories. Broadly, there are 3 categories if I were to talk about it. First is if you have a BE or a BTech or a 4-year BSc or MSc or a higher degree in either computer science or information technology, artificial intelligence, data science, mathematics and computing, or equivalent disciplines. Basically, if you have a undergraduate degree or a undergraduate plus postgraduate degree in a field related to computer science or AI or data science or any relevant area, you are eligible to apply for this e-Postgraduate Diploma. Or if you don't have an undergraduate degree in computer science or related areas, and have completed either a BE or BTech or a 4-year BSc in or any other higher degree in any other engineering discipline, but have one of the 3 things that are listed, which is either you should have a qualifying GATE score in computer science or data science, or you should have at least 2 years of relevant work experience in, again, computer science, artificial intelligence, data science, or relevant areas. Or if not that, at least you should have a minor in computer science, IT, AI, ML, data science, or equivalent in programs which offer. If this is if this is not the bucket that you are in, then there is also a third bucket where candidates who have an MCA with BCA as the undergraduate degree or BSc as the undergraduate degree with mathematics as a subject are also eligible to apply. The basic idea is that you should have some exposure to computer science either through your undergraduate program or as a part of your preparation for GATE, or as a part of your job, or through a minor in computer science, or through an MCA. Because this is a postgraduate diploma in computer science and engineering, the expectation is that there are certain prerequisites. And while the courses will build from, we will start at a foundational level and then move to advanced level, there is still an expectation that you will already have some exposure to some of the foundational concepts for computer science, and which is why you are taking a postgraduate diploma in this space. And hence all of these criteria are have been finalized to ensure that the candidate has some background in computer science. And of course, if you don't fall in any of these criteria, or maybe are confused about any of these, as and when you reach out to the Great Learning team, we can check with the faculty and we can run it with the faculty at IIT Bombay CSE department, and whatever they decide on equivalency or anything else will be the final say in this matter. In terms of the selection process, it's a simple 3-step process. Part one is, if you're interested in this e-Postgraduate Diploma, you can apply by filling out a simple online application form, which is present on the Great Learning website. I would request the Great Learning team to post the webpage link for the e-Postgraduate Diploma. And for folks who are interested, you can find the details about the e-Postgraduate Diploma on this link. And for those of you who are interested in applying, you can also fill an online application form for the same. In case you need more details, please do drop in your contact details, and someone from the Great Learning team will get in touch with you to help you understand more about the postgraduate diploma and to answer your queries. For those of you who apply after completing the online application form, you have to take an online test which has been designed to assess your foundational knowledge and suitability for this ePGD. And after you pass the online test, you go through a mandatory screening call with the registration office. So step one is application, step two is online test and a screening call. And if you cross both these, then the selected candidates will receive an offer letter to join the ePGD, and you'll need to pay the registration fees to secure your seat and to make sure and you complete the registration process. It's a 3-step registration process where the idea is, one, to assess your foundational knowledge and suitability through a test, and also, of course, understand if you are the right fit for this e-postgraduate diploma, and if this e-postgraduate diploma is the right fit for your career aspirations as a part of the screening call that will happen. So that's about the process. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. And I think we've received some questions on the chat and the Q&A window, which we've answered, but I'll still have a second look and see what. There's a question on course selection. So, Rashmit, you can select the courses which are, so in every term, different courses will be offered, and the list of courses being offered will be made available to you in advance. You can choose which courses you prefer to pursue in that term, uh, right? And so for the term that starts in Jan, there are 3 courses which are planned right now. Then for the next term, which starts in May, there are another 3 courses, and then later there are 3. So you can only choose from courses which are being offered in that specific term, and based on some of the course prerequisites, you can take those courses. For example, some of the faculty typically run a small test before the course to understand how well the students are prepared, and for that they share the preparation material. So you'll have a couple of weeks or months for those of you who register early to study and go through that material, and then take a self-assessment test to understand how well ready you are to take that particular course, right? There's a question on if it's possible to meet faculty in person. Unfortunately, it's not possible to meet the faculty in person before uh, you know before the courses start, or even during the courses. The only time people can visit the campus is for the exam towards the end of the courses, as the end term exams are supposed to happen on campus. During that time, of course, there will be sessions planned with the faculty as well, where you'll get an opportunity to ask your queries, doubts, and of course, meet them in person. I'll also take a couple of. So there are a couple of questions on people in their second, third, fourth year. So if you have successfully completed your undergraduate program, you may be eligible depending upon which bucket you fall in. But for those of you who are still pursuing your undergraduate degrees, you're not eligible for this e-postgraduate diploma as of now. You can check once you complete your uh, in terms of there's a question on what type of exams will be there. So again, this really depends from course to course. Every faculty, from what I understand, has the independence to set their exams. So it can be objective, it can be subjective, it can be proof based, it can be coding based. It really depends upon the topic area and the faculty and how they want to assess the learners. From what I've also heard, uh, things also keep changing as learners progress through the course, and it's really a very dynamic environment. There's no preset ways of doing this, and faculties also uh, so to say, make changes as they go along and depending on how the class progresses. In terms of career support, you will be added once you successfully complete all the requirements of the e-postgraduate diploma and get your e-postgraduate diploma. You will be added to a lateral hiring group. This group is to provide lateral hiring support to those who, either who are IIT Bombay alumni or who've completed the postgraduate diplomas. It's a email group where opportunities are shared by either the IIT Bombay placement cell or in fact the IIT Bombay alumni pool itself. And this is like any other lateral hiring, so to say, information board where opportunities are posted and the learners or the group members are expected, like if they want, they can apply for that respective opportunity and take the process ahead. Because this is a program focused at working professionals and the like. There are no campus placement opportunities which are generally available to on-campus program learners and typically for those who are not working professionals. Given e-postgraduate diplomas are for those who are probably pursuing a job on the side, only lateral hiring opportunities are available, and those are offered through this lateral hiring group that I just spoke about. For those of you who are from the non-IT background, as I said, there are three criterias, and if you've crossed any of those three, you are eligible. Either you should have a qualifying GATE score in computer science or data science, or you should have at least 2 years of relevant work experience in computer science, AI/ML, data science, and so on. Or you should have completed a minor in again computer science, AI/ML, data science to be eligible for this e-postgraduate diploma. Can you pursue a PhD after this? I think the answer is definitely yes. You can pursue a PhD after this, and you should be able to pursue a PhD after this. The requirement really depends from institute to institute in terms of what's the minimum degree requirement to pursue a PhD. But broadly speaking, at least as far as the IT system is concerned, I don't think master's is a compulsory requirement to pursue a PhD. Even after doing a postgraduate diploma, you should be eligible to pursue the same. Professor Vinay, please feel free to add to this if
Yes,
I
so
miss.
our department, in fact, right now I'm guiding a student who only has a BTech degree in computer science. And right, so our department, you can have just a bachelor's degree and do a PhD, but you would have to do more courses as compared to somebody who already has a master's, right? But the rules are a little bit different for different IITs and different departments within IITs. So it all depends on that.
Correct, correct. Thanks, Professor Vinay. Um, in
So, but
terms of
just I think it should be clear that the postgraduate diploma will typically not be counted as a full MTech. So if a university says that MTech is required, then you have only done the postgraduate diploma and not a full MTech, then you may not be eligible, right? So it depends, but maybe this, if there is an postgraduate degree that we offer later on, full master's degree, then if you do that, then probably it's equivalent to a master, to an MTech, right? Yes.
yeah,
So
that-
it's yeah. So this ePGD program probably will not be considered as a full-fledged master's degree for the purposes of PhD admission. That is my intuition, but I could be wrong, right? But that's my intuition.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Professor Vinay. I think I agree with the same. While this is a postgraduate uh, diploma, it really depends on the either the employer where you are applying or maybe the institution in terms of what is their minimum requirement. If the minimum requirement is any postgraduate education or PG diploma, then this works. If the requirement is that you should have at least a master's degree, then this may not be eligible. So it really depends upon the institution where you are applying. Um, yeah. In terms of the fee structure, and this is the last question because we're well over time. So the fee structures right now is 4.8 lakhs plus GST for the entire e-postgraduate diploma. And yeah, and so yeah, because there are different courses and there's the total fee structure. And again, if you have any further questions regarding the same, please feel free to reach out to the team. And as we discussed, you can uh, reach out to the team and you can first, of course, go to the webpage, which is also displayed on the screen, and put in your details. And then, of course, someone from the Great Learning team will get in touch and help answer, and then provide answer to your queries. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And we hope this was helpful and, we were able to answer your queries around the postgraduate diploma and you were able to understand, what this entails, what's the overall structure and, what courses. And we hope, that you were able to understand if this is relevant to your requirements or not. And we hope to see some of you in the upcoming sessions, as long as you're able to clear the selection process. And with that, we'll close the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and especially Professor Vinay. Thank you so much for making time to share
Thanks.
your views on this and help the candidates with the details. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Good
everybody.
night, and let's
Bye.
close this.